Let's be honest, most luxury credit cards these days come with sky high annual fees, tons of fine print, and benefits that have become more of a hassle to use than you actually get great value out of them. We've entered a new era in credit cards, and a lot of people, whether it's one thing or another, have been turned off from the credit card game. However, there's still one credit card that's very underrated that I feel continues to deliver great value year after year. And I think it's worth doing a deep investigation into the Ritz-Carlton credit card to see if it keeps up in today's day and age with some of the big players that are turning a lot of people off and people are moving away from. So today, I'm going to show you if the Ritz-Carlton credit card is now the best luxury credit card out there for the value-oriented traveler. Let's dive right on in. All right, so when value-oriented people look for a luxury travel credit card, I believe they're weighing one or multiple of the 7 different benefits that you see on your screen now. If you run through that checklist and the card in question satisfies most of those benefits and does those things pretty well, after holding the card, generally, I find that you're going to be a very happy camper. Now, as I mentioned before, most mainstream and popular luxury credit cards try to sell you that they do exactly that. I'm talking about the new Chase Sapphire Reserve, the Amex Platinum, and the Capital One Venture X, to name the 3 most popular. However, those cards are doing that at ever-increasing annual fees. But what about the Ritz-Carlton credit card? You may have heard of this, you may not have, but through an analysis of the 7 most important travel areas, I want to look to see how it stacks up. I'll rate the card from 1 to 10 in every single categories and give you some context as to how it performs against the biggest and the best that you typically think about it. 1 will be terrible, and 10 will be that the Ritz-Carlton card is the best at that given category. Let's tackle head-on one of what may be the weakest areas of the Ritz-Carlton card, depending on what you're looking for. This is the points and or miles earnings that luxury cards can have. Here's what the Ritz offers. First, let's get this out of the way. On the Ritz-Carlton card, you're earning Marriott Bonvoy points, whereas the other big hitters in the game, they earn what's called transferable currency that can be redeemed at their own portals for hotel or airline stays, or transferred out to different brands for potentially higher value redemptions directly. The Ritz-Carlton card earns a minimum of an 18.5x multiplier back on Marriott purchases, and if you work your way up to the top Marriott status, you'll be earning 23.5x back there. You get 3x on this card from dining, car rentals, and airlines before earning a flat 2x back on everything else. And while some of you may look at those multipliers and say, hey, those are really incredible, I want to remind you that Marriott points themselves are slightly devalued compared to the average credit card point, which is typically 1 cent. Marriott points generally are worth about 0.7 cents each, so I like to think of these multipliers as 13x on Marriott purchases, 2.1x on dining, car reservations, and airlines, and a flat 1.4x on non-category purchases. Those specific valuations are why I rate this card a 4 out of 10 in the category of earnings and point multipliers. In fact, this card, like the other ones I want to compare it to, are mostly benefit and experience-oriented cards, which is mostly what we're going to highlight throughout the rest of this video. While there are other cards out there, like the Chase Sapphire Reserve and the Amex Platinum card that struggle as being a single card that you can spend on all of your purchases due to those low non-category purchase multipliers, still, at least those cards offer transferable currencies, giving you a ton of flexibility on the back end. An example of a card that does it all that would be a 10 out of 10 in this category is the Venture X Rewards credit card, which gives you a perfect 10x on hotels and rental cars and 5x on flights booked through their portal, and a flat 2x miles back on everything else. Admittedly, the Ritz-Carlton is especially poor in this area. However, if you value Marriott points, I'd bump a 4 out of 10 rating up to closer to a 5 out of 10 or a 6 out of 10. However, this is just one of 7 factors, so let's look at number 2, lounge access, to see how the Ritz really starts to stack up in some of the benefits you'll experience when holding the card. The Ritz-Carlton credit card may surprise a lot of you by offering some incredible lounge access that could be the perfect fit if you like to travel more than just by yourself. It gives you unlimited access to Priority Pass and Chase Sapphire lounges by the club. Also, you can't forget that the Ritz-Carlton credit card offers unlimited guest privileges. More on that in a second. When you combine all of this together, it's a firm 7 out of 10 in the lounge access category. Let's give that some context. It's got good lounge access. There's no doubt about it. It's one of the best travel credit cards that you can get if you want to value lounge access. However, it's not the best. I still rate the Amex Platinum card because of the wide variety of lounges, plus the quantity of high quality lounges that you can get into as an even better option, and I'd score that at about a 9 out of 10. However, some people will consider the Ritz card's access more meaningful because if that's number one on your priority list, well, you're doing that for about half the annual fee at $450 compared to the Platinum's $695 fee. Still, the differentiator here is guest access. If you value traveling with a companion or a number of people on your reservations, well, you're going to have to pay for it on your other premium cards. For example, the Platinum card is going to be a $50 guest fee to get in, even though you're paying so much for that original card. The Venture X just scaled back their lounge access, and now, starting in 2026, you'll have to also pay for guest access with those cards. The Ritz card fits in as a nice blend between quality and quantity of who you can bring. Okay, what about airline and hotel status? First of all, what the Ritz offers. You're going to get automatic Marriott Gold status, which out of the 5 different status levels available at Marriott Bonvoy, Gold is only the second out of those 5. However, that being said, the nicest benefits that do stand out in this category are the guaranteed 2 p.m. late checkout, the 25% points earnings boost that's factored into those initial earnings categories, and a potential for a room upgrade. However, your mileage may vary, as Gold status members aren't necessarily the highest priority for those upgrades upon check-in. This is where it starts to get good though. The Ritz-Carlton card offers an 85,000 Marriott point free night award, and that'll pretty much get you into anything you want. Whether you're looking for a Ritz-Carlton property and want to spend one night at some of the nicest hotels that there are, or you just want to be practical and implement it into a road trip that you're normally taking, that free night award can come in handy for pretty much anyone. You'll also get a $100 hotel credit on a 2-night minimum stay, and if you want to see how much that credit may save you, consider this example pricing from the Ritz-Carlton in Fort Lauderdale, where 2 nights will run you close to $700 before your $100 discount. Finally, the card also offers club level upgrades for 3 different stays a year and 15 elite night credits towards your next level of Marriott status. My score, an 8 out of 10. These are really solid hotel perks, and it just makes sense. This is, after all, a hotel card connected to the Marriott brand. If you want a luxury travel credit card and also value the hotel experience side, this may be the factor that actually pushes you to the Ritz card and seals the deal compared to the other heavy hitters. The Platinum card does offer great status. You're still getting that Marriott Gold Elite status, and you're also getting Hilton Honors Gold status, which is a really good status level for what they give you in those packages. Platinum card also throws in a hotel credit of $200 for their fine hotels and resorts, which is going to be very comparable to the $100 credit the Ritz card gives you at Ritz or St. Regis properties. As for those other big cards, well, the Venture X gives you nothing here, whereas the Chase Sapphire Reserve does give you IHG Platinum Elite status and has a temporary offer going giving you Marriott Gold Elite status as well. Still, what pushes everything towards the Ritz is going to be that free night award and how versatile and valuable that will be used to offset some of the annual fees. Let's move on. What about car rental perks? The Ritz card again puts together a really competitive play for those of you who value car rental status. The Ritz card gets you 25% off national bookings and Emerald Club executive level membership. That means guaranteed upgrades. You could choose any car in a special area and expedited check-in and check-out. However, uniquely, it also offers another partnership, this time through Avis as well, offering you 30% off of your Avis bookings, plus Avis Preferred Plus status and a complimentary 2-day weekend rental. Now that's not it, as all of this comes with primary rental car coverage. Ritz knocks it out of the park, and I rate car rental status as a 9 out of 10 benefit that the Ritz card provides you. This is about as good as it gets. The Amex Platinum is probably a 10 out of 10 for some context here, offering 3 different elite statuses with Avis, Hertz, and National, but from my personal experience, having multiple different car rental statuses is more than enough. The fact that you have two and it competes really well against the Platinum here, I think that says all you need to know about what the Ritz can do for you in this category. My next category is what I call day of travel enhancements. Some of the stuff you really don't think about, but if you're picking a premium travel credit card, well, you should have them inside this card. These are the type of benefits I'm talking about. The Ritz card will offer you a TSA PreCheck or global entry credit. It has no foreign transaction fees, and it's a Visa, meaning your acceptance is going to be really good no matter what country you're traveling to. You'll get lost luggage reimbursement, trip cancellation, interruption insurance, and trip delay reimbursement baked in. I look at this and it's pretty straightforward. These are really good statuses and benefits, and I rate them an 8 out of 10. Overall, this is really in line with what any premium travel card should and does offer you. The only reason I give this an 8 and not a 9 or a 10 is the Amex Platinum card, which would be at the top in this category, does offer a clear credit, and that's technically better or a step up from the TSA PreCheck. As for the rest of the benefits, well, you may travel a lot and never even tap into one of these. They're good to have, but I don't think a lot of people are really choosing between the fine margins on these, so just knowing the Ritz card comes with them and pretty much meets its competitors, well, that's good enough for me and probably good enough for a lot of you out there. Let's look at our second to last category, something I talk a ton about on this channel and wanted to mention as you look and consider the Ritz card as well. This is wallet synergy and sustainability. Here's what the Ritz card will do for you in your setup. First, it's a flexible credit card. Not in that you can do a ton of different things with the points. We talked about the negatives there in our first category, the points and earnings one. However, you can use this card in different ways. One, you can spend on it. If you like Marriott points and want a way to rack those up for redemptions at Marriott properties, well, you could certainly do that with this card and it'll make it well worth your time. That 3x on dining, car rentals, and airlines, well, that'll come in pretty good for you. However, if you're like most people and you don't need a ton of Marriott points and you're getting this card for some of those other experiential benefits, don't spend on it at all. You're going to be able to get a lot more value from additional credit cards in your setup and still get a ton back from the Ritz card without having to swipe it consistently each month. This is very much so in line with almost every other premium travel credit card. If you're new to this game, you'll be shocked to hear that premium credit cards aren't really meant to be spent on. And the Marriott, you can spend on it or you cannot. So it pretty much lines up and meets the others where they are in that category. The only one that isn't built like this is, of course, the Venture X, and I would rate that card a 10 out of 10. However, I rate the card a 6 out of 10 because it's really just like its peers. With all of these types of cards, you're going to have to build a wallet setup around it for earning elevated multipliers in your top spending categories. So even a 6 out of 10 here isn't going to be a make or break factor for too many people. Let's bring all of this home and look at annual fees, or perhaps more accurately, effective annual fees, because that's the end value that you're getting out of the card after you pay in to hold it. First, you got to pay in $450 to hold the Ritz card. Expensive, but we'll talk about some of its peers in just a second. What do you have to do to get that down to zero? Well, for some people, it's just one thing. Redeem that annual $85K free night award. At common valuations, that could be worth basically $600 for Marriott stays. And if you just do that every single year, you've recouped the annual fee you've paid in and potentially more. However, even if that's not wiping away the entire $450 annual fee, well, for a lot of people, some of these benefits will do just that. There's the $300 travel credit, which is supposed to be an incidental only credit, but data points show us that they are a lot more flexible with pulling this credit and using it towards a wide variety of travel purchases. You have the $100 hotel credit if you're considering a potential 2-night stay. Of course, all of that lounge access and whatever valuation you would give to that. And things like those car rental perks, travel protections, and really solid earn rates on Marriott paid stays. A lot of those will be gravy on top, but the fact that this card starts at $450 is really what makes it a strong contender. Just for context, we've got the Chase Sapphire Reserve at $795, the Amex Platinum currently at $695, and the Venture X at $395. When I score the Ritz-Carlton card, I give it an 8 out of 10, because the bottom line is, this is a reasonably priced card, but it includes elevated benefits that give you so much potential value, it actually seems like the card annual fee could be a little bit higher. When you start to look around and compare it to some of those other premium cards out there, getting your money's worth when you look at those, that may make you start to sweat. And that's what makes the Ritz-Carlton card look better and better every single passing year. So let's quickly recap and look at how this card netted across the 7 most important travel categories in my opinion. It's a lot, and the Ritz card may still not be your preferred card on the list. However, I want you to walk away from this video asking yourself the question, out of the cards we talked through today, which of these delivers the most easy to recoup value and still gives you those high level perks and benefits while not making you track everything and worry if you're actually getting your money's worth? So if this is the card for you, just follow these 2 steps. 1, apply for any of the Chase, Marriott, Bonvoy cards. There's 3 options ranging from $0 to $250 in annual fees. Hold those cards for a year and make sure you have at least a $10,000 credit limit. Then call Chase up and ask to product change your card into the Ritz-Carlton credit card. So if you're someone who hates this new trend in premium travel credit cards and wants to revolt against where this is going, this card in this video could be the inspiration that gets you started on still having those benefits, but not having to pay through the nose to get them. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.